This is Kite Cutter TV with another presentation. We gotta talk about this. Okay, guys, thanks to all my subscribers, my new subscribers that's watching. YouTube seems like it's been purging my channel for the last couple years. I was on 61,000. Now, throughout the last couple years, I'm down to like 58,000 subscribers. So I highly value all of my subscribers and my loyal listeners. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. Getting into it, we got some good news. Under U.S. pressure, Mexico quietly flying migrants back to Central America. Yes, finally we have Mexico stepping its game up, trying to fly some of their people and people that's coming from Central America from the northern Mexico border with the U.S. down to the southern border, and they're making them cross back into Guatemala. Let's check this out. Immigrants exiled from the United States and sent back to Mexico line up outside the Juarez building. Under pressure from the U.S. government to contain illegal immigrants, Mexico has quietly flown thousands of undocumented migrants to the south of the country to facilitate their departure. The government said it had launched 4 so-called air bridges to the south in late May, resulting in 4 return flights for migrants. This is where it kicks off. Mexico is currently complementing U.S. efforts to return immigrants to Central America by sending about 13,000 people from northern cities to the southern border on about 100 flights. 2 Mexican officials familiar with the matter said. So this is great news. We have Mexico trying to step its game up. So as we know, Biden is doing very little to stop illegal immigration into the United States. So it's great to see that Mexico is stepping its game up and doing a little something about it. 13,000 is just a little drop in the bucket, but we got to start somewhere. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Check this out.
Under pressure from the U.S. government to contain illegal immigration, Mexico has been quietly flying thousands of undocumented migrants to the south of the country to expedite their departure. That's according to migrants and Mexican officials, 2 of whom said that Mexico has now sent roughly 13,000 people from northern cities to its southern border on about 100 flights, and that some 1,200 people were flown south in the past week alone, figures that have not been previously reported. Reuters video showed a flight carrying dozens of migrants, including children, landing in the southern city of Tapachula last week. Reuters witnesses said Mexican authorities then loaded the migrants onto buses, drove them about half an hour to a remote border crossing, and instructed them to walk across the pedestrian bridge into Guatemala. Mexico's foreign ministry said in a statement it supported a humane migratory system that respected national and international law and was working with the U.S. to tackle the causes of migration. The migrant flights come as the Biden administration faces increasing criticism over its management of the issue. Apprehensions of undocumented migrants on the U.S. southern border with Mexico have surged this year, piling pressure on President Joe Biden and with it the Mexican government to stem the flow of people trying to cross the border.
There is growing concern the migrant crisis may be complicating the issue. The city of McAllen, Texas, says more than 7,000 migrants who tested positive for COVID have been processed since February, including more than 1,500 just this past week.
Republican gubernatorial candidate Caitlyn Jenner visited San Diego Friday to tour the southern border wall. If elected governor of California, Jenner says she will use state funds to finish construction along the state's border with Mexico. Hunter Sowards has the latest, reporting from the border.
the border.
Caitlyn Jenner back on the campaign trail.
President. Nice to meet you.
Meeting with Border Patrol agents about the problems they're facing and not wasting any time, taking aim at Governor Newsom.
Yeah, speaking of that, has Newsom ever been here?
Not at all down here.
He's never been here?
The former Olympian turned reality star turned politician.
Do walls work?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Telling reporters that the border crisis is a big reason she announced her candidacy.
I was so upset with it. People dying, people drowning, kids in cages. It was bad policies, bad outcome.
We're starting to hear what policies and approach she would take as governor.
I want to be able to do a program where you can legally come into the country to work. That's extremely important because they are part of our economy.
Promising state funds to finish patches of the border wall. As agents explain, it's a multi-pronged approach, citing a need for not just a wall, but technology, resources, and lawmakers' support.
There's an illegal group crossing into the United States as we speak.
You can see them right here. Crossing the border.
Oh, yeah.
Crossing illegally.
But as Jenner answered questions, she paused to watch a group cross into the U.S. from Mexico.
We don't have a state, we do not have a country unless we have a secure border. Bottom line, that's it.
But that won't be the only issue California voters care about. What other things are important to you that separate you from what is a large pool of candidates right now?
Yes, it is. We have a large group of candidates right now. Yes, I've always been a Republican. Why? Because I have conservative economic values. But then I also call myself an inclusive Republican. Why? Because on social issues, I'm inclusive to all people. And in the case of Larry Elder, he's far right. I'm middle right.
California's Governor Gavin Newsom, a Democrat, faces a recall election on September 14th. Voters must decide whether he should be removed from office, and if so, they will have to pick among the 46 candidates running against him. Besides Caitlyn Jenner, other prominent candidates include former San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer and talk host radio Larry Elder.
Welcome back. A monumental legal victory for Texas on Friday with a federal judge ordering the Biden administration to reinstate President Trump's Remain in Mexico policy. This comes on the heels of the worst border numbers in over 20 years, agents apprehending 212,000 plus in the month of July. That doesn't include the gotaways seen on surveillance, likely escaping into the interior of our country. I'm told the gotaways is averaging 30 to 40,000 every month. Joining me right now is the man behind this victory, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. He's been in court fighting Biden's radical policies from day one. This marks his second legal win on immigration since January. AG Paxton, it's good to see you. Thanks very much for being here. Are you expecting them to reinstate Remain in Mexico, or could they sit on this and not do it?
No, they're supposed to. Obviously, you know this was a pretty important policy put in place by the Trump administration that actually worked to stop people from coming in and claiming asylum when they really didn't deserve it, and then disappearing into our country. So we're really hoping that he follows the judge's order. They are supposed to put it back into place. They can obviously appeal this, and there'll obviously be appeal on this as we go forward.
Well, I spoke with one of my border sources yesterday, and he said there's absolutely no security at the border at all. One major issue is they have to take resources from the other borders, like the northern border. That's wide open because they had to take resources from there to put it at the southern border. Of course, this is the longest border in the world between Canada and the United States. And then they also had to take resources from the coastal borders. That's Florida, Louisiana, Alabama. And so what's happening at the southern border is sucking up resources across the world, making the country that much more vulnerable.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I've talked to Border Patrol agents. I've talked to high-level Border Patrol agents. They say there are no discussions ever with the Biden administration about actually stopping illegal immigration, just dealing with the logistics. And that's exactly what they're being told to do. That's what they are doing. And they can't help but do that because there's so many people. You just mentioned the numbers. They're the highest we've ever had. And unfortunately, the cartels are getting even better at transporting people and transporting drugs across our border.
and the drugs are killing Americans. There's also COVID to look at, because I know that there are wealthy Mexican families that send their kids across the border to Texas to go to school, and that is said to be creating a COVID crisis as well.
There's no doubt our numbers are going up because of the border and what's going on down there. I've talked to Dallas police officers who told me that they've seen buses come in at night and be completely empty to people. They just disappear.
The president is blaming you and blaming Florida for the increasing numbers of COVID. Your response?
He doesn't have any credibility left with me. He's lecturing us, Texas and Florida, and Americans on vaccines and on masks, and yet he's allowing illegal immigration with COVID coming across our border every day by the thousands. And so it's hard for me to believe in what he's saying when he is openly allowing people to cross the borders and then go all around our country with COVID.
Yeah, I know that you have breaking news on the endorsements that you're getting from Mark Morgan and Tom Homan for defending Texas's border. Tell me about that, as well as how you try to rein in the Democrats who tried to obstruct justice by leaving just when you were trying to vote on the new Texas voting law. The law is being criticized for being too restrictive. So we have a graphic here to show exactly what is in the law, increasing hours to vote during early voting and having an ID to vote.
Well, I really appreciate the endorsements of Tom and Mark. They are the leaders on immigration in our country during the Trump administration. They were the most effective leaders I've ever seen on immigration. So their support of me as I run for Attorney General is super important to me, and I certainly appreciate that. As far as the Democrats protesting and leaving the state, this is a ridiculous way to handle democracy. It's not democracy. It's a minority trying to control the majority. These are not restrictive. We have one of the most open voting systems in America with 2 weeks of early voting, and this is merely trying to refine some of the things that happened in the last elections that went wrong. These people ought to come up and debate and vote for their own constituents and for the people of Texas.
Assess what's going on in Arizona and elsewhere where we're seeing new bills regarding voting.
Look, it's one of the most important issues of our time. If we can't make sure that our elections are credible and that people trust them, we'll lose votes. People will stop voting. They'll stop believing in our system of democracy. I really can't think of a more important thing to be doing at the state legislatures these days, making sure that people trust our elections.
Yeah, for sure. Attorney General, great to see you this morning. Thanks so much.